I've done some previous episodes where I've ground meat and stuffed sausage or one of the both. And I always record in that how I do the grinding and how I do the stuffing. And that takes up a lot of space in the video. So I decided that since not everybody needs that information, I'm just going to do this, piece together this little video here that just talks about tips and techniques for grinding meat and stuffing sausages. So we're going to start with 1.5 pounds of pork. And as I always do, I make sure that the pork is partially frozen. It makes the grinding process a little easier, keeps the meat cooler. And I also note that the grinder and the plates are also kept put in the freezer. So this whole thing here was put in the freezer for a while. That's going to keep the plates and the grinder from overheating and possibly starting to cook some of the meat. So fortunately, now when you do this grinding, of course, you're going to end up with, not everything is going to feed all the way through. Some of it's going to stick in the little spiral in there. One of the little tricks to get all the rest of the meat out is take a piece of stale bread and put a piece of stale bread in at the end. And what that's going to do is that's going to get in there and that's going to push the last bits of the meat out. And you'll be able to tell because you'll see a little bit of the bread start to come out there. And then you'll know you're pretty much done. All right, so I have all of the meat here. It's ready to go. And all right, so the chorizo sat overnight and all of the flavors are nicely melded in. And now we're gonna stuff them into their casings. Now, I did let the chorizo warm up a bit, and what's important about that is because if you try to do this when it's really cold, it's hard to stuff. The other thing you'll notice, I'm kind of tossing them down into this stuffer here, and the reason is because I want to try and get out as much of the air as possible. It makes it a little better. So what I did in that case was that I go ahead and I tossed it down in there and then punched it down in a little bit to do that. Now, you'll see what I'm using here is a sausage stuffer. You don't have to use one of these. If you're going to be making a lot of sausage, then it's good to have one. But if you're only going to make it occasionally, they have those attachments for the mixers, similar to the grinder that I used, and you can use that instead. I'm putting this into pig casings. These are all natural casings. You can get these on the internet if you can't find them anywhere locally. They're not that expensive. They come packed in salt, so you have to sort of soak them in water for at least a half an hour or so to get the salt off of them, and then you can go ahead and do it. Now, these are the medium-sized casings. They're 20 to 25 millimeters. You'll see what I did is I got pumped this through, got the sausage into it. So now I know got as much air out as I possibly can, and now I can tie off the end again as close to where the sausage is as I can. We got most of the air out. That's good. Now I just go ahead and stuff. Now the only thing I want to do is I don't want to stuff them too tight. If I put it too tight, then they might explode. So you'll see I'm kind of helping to guide it through as I stuff this. And occasionally you'll get a little air in there, but that's okay. We'll fix that later. So here we go. We'll just get all of this in there. All right, almost done. See how easy that is? One of the advantages of this over the mixer attachment is that you have a little bit more control. And I can stop and start. I can change the speed. All right, so there we have it. I now have them done up like that. All right, push that through. All right, and I'm done. All right, I can tell this here. And now I want to do is I want to make these into links. And so I just say, well, how big of a link do I want? Let's say about that long. So what I'll do is I'll grab at that location like that, and then I'll do this. And that'll tie off the links. I got a couple here, and then I'm going to do the same thing in the next stretch, like that. Okay, they're about the same size, nothing's perfect here. Then I'll do a couple more, like so. And then it looks like I got, I don't know if it's a couple more or one more, but let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Now the last thing you do with this is that in order to avoid potential explosions later when you cook them is you prick them. I have this is an actual sausage pricker that I bought, but the thing is you don't want to use a fork. That's too big. So if you don't have something like this, try using like a pin, little pins, but you're just going to do this. And what that's going to do is going to allow it to expand a bit without exploding when you cook it. So that's my tips and techniques for grinding meat and stuffing sausage. I hope you found it useful, and we'll see you next time.